You did.
Yep.
It says we're going live.
Okay.
It says we're here.
All right.
I don't actually know if I'm here until our existence is validated by others, but that's because I need external validation.
Well, I see us.
I mean, I see you every day, so... and yes, for anybody who's paying attention, we do match. Also, yes, it was unintentional.
No.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. This is our weekly live stream where we record our podcast, the audio version of which hits all major podcast apps every Friday. We are here 8 minutes early. If you are here for the live stream and you don't like idle chit chat, you've got about 8 minutes before we're going to be talking about anything. If you're here after the live stream, but before I put in timestamps, and you don't like idle chit chat, fast forward by about 8 minutes. Okay. I did it. I did the spiel without jacking it up.
You did.
Very proud of me. Hello, John Brownstone.
I broke the chat cherry.
I know, you're very proud of it. That was after you yanked down your shorts to show me your underwear so we could compare if we matched there, too. So, y'all missed that. Hi, Kim. Hi, Kitty.
I need
Hi,
to switch
JB.
the camera a little bit again.
Hi, Susan. Hi, Brittany. Yeah, I'm taking up more space. I mean, I do naturally, but I like it when you're, like, in the shot evenly as well. No, that did not do anything. Maybe it did. Wait, I was looking at the one.
Yeah, you need to look at that.
Yeah,
one.
I know. I was looking at the wrong screen. How does this work? I don't know.
And that one should catch up in a minute.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hi,
see,
Serenity.
there I am getting up.
Is this like a waking version of Inception? What the heck? What?
And there I am coming back.
Kim, we do not, because I'm not wearing any. But it did start the conversation about how I would like to go get some new panties. I need to take more butt selfies. Because I like butt selfies. And I like cute panties. I don't want to walk around in panties all day. It's like I don't want to walk around in a bra all day. But if it's cute and it makes some bit and part of me look good, I want it because I want to take a picture. Just saying. And I'm really tired of certain either platforms or algorithms just making that difficult. So I started my own space to do that more. I might mention it later. It's not actually ready for anybody to look at. It's got 2 little posts on it, but that's okay. Hi, Rara.
The link forest has grown.
You know, I did not put that in the Loving BDSM link forest.
Really?
Not yet, anyway. I'm not really ready to, like, fully promote it because, like I said, it's got 2 whole posts on it. But I used our lighting and the setup tripod earlier to my advantage. My boobs look good in those pictures. I'll have to show them to you later. Susan, same. I do too. Oh, that dog grooming reminds me. I got to call the groomer and see if I can get Lola in. She is in desperate need of a bath. Oh, she's stinky. She's so stinky. She's so stinky, and she loves rolling around in
the yard now.
The backyard, which is mostly grass, although it's struggling.
Waning, yeah.
And some dirt patches, and whew, I'm happy for her. I want her to live her best, dog life, but she's stinky and dirty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've the Instagram algorithm, because I interacted with a couple of ads, which I don't usually do because I'm like, you're advertising here, but I get it, whatever. Served me up several risque lingerie sites where it's more than just like a bra and set of panties. And I found the clearance section on one of those sites, so... And I thought I had thigh-high socks, like the really cool thigh-high socks. I was going to take some cute pictures of that, and then I realized I do not. I have knee-highs, and I still have never worn those. They were meant to go with my boots that I very rarely get to wear. But...
Yeah, the one day of boot weather here in Florida.
I know, and then I forget I have the knee-high boots, and so then because I don't, I could see that being paired with like a cute skirt and top, but do I own any of that? No, not that fits. Hi, Junie. I still need to try on the dress that when I first, so 17-year-old graduates at the end of May. We are going to dress nice for that, even though I don't usually care about that, but we are definitely going to. I've already warned the 13-year-old that he's not wearing his, like, gym short t-shirt thing that he likes to wear. And I was like, oh gosh, I'm thinking I'm going to have to go buy a dress, and I might still have to. But then I remember I have this really pretty spring-like dress in my closet that I bought from, I cannot think of the site. I can't remember the name of the site. Anyway, and it was actually too big on me. I was like, the top neckline was like gaping on me, and I had had this tie thing, tied it really tight. So I'm going to try it again and see if it fits comfortably. If not, I have to go buy a dress. But I want to do other things other than that, but we can't right now, so it's fine. Hi, Taishu. So, Taishu, from our perspective,
you're not red.
You're not red, so I don't know. Congrats, Susan. Isn't it wild that it's happening? And I looked at the 17-year-old at dinner the other night when he was being his wild and crazy self, and first I went, oh my God, you're going to be gone. 4 months from now, you will not be at this dinner table anymore. And then the jokes ensued about how great that would be. I was like, it's not going to be great. You're going to be gone.
Table will be quiet at dinner time.
It will
again.
be. Your dog.
I hear her, acting forlorn and lost.
Would you like to come in, ma'am? Are you done sunning yourself? Come on in. Come on in. Okay, there we go. So, hi, Shelby. Who else? Did anybody come in? Is it Dr. Ghoul? Dr. Gull? Dr. something else? Hello?
Gaul.
Oh, I couldn't say that. I would fuck that up. Hi, Red October. Okay, Robert, it's your baby is graduating, so how are you doing in compared to that? I still get one at home for a few more years. Quite frankly, he might stay at home even when he graduates high school and go to like the local place, and that'll be fine if that's what he chooses to do. But how are you holding up? How is it when you think about the first two graduated compared to the baby? I don't know what I'll do when the baby graduates. I really don't know. Probably not much if he doesn't end up going down a similar path to his brother. But I can absolutely see the youngest doing the state college or community college thing here in town, which would be fine.
That's fine.
I don't have a problem with that.
He can stay home and take care of the fur babies while we
travel. I know.
Yeah.
Do you know, and I don't know if it's because the oldest is about to graduate, and I feel like you can kind of see light at the end of the tunnel of they don't need to be actively raised anymore. Or if it's an age thing, or if I'm just tired, and so here I am. But when we talk about what you're going to do for a new motorcycle, which, can I say what you're thinking of?
Yeah.
He's thinking of getting a touring Can-Am so that it'll be all comfortable and less strain on your back. I who don't like to travel because I get so much travel anxiety over new things, and cannot stop thinking about taking short and long road trips on that thing.
I know. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oh, here comes Ella. I thought it was Onyx. Oh, it is noon. Silently, we will try to also pay attention, but you know how we get, but we will try. Okay. I'm now like sucked into the live chat. Sorry, we're going to actually get started. The topic for today is kind of a weird one for us because I don't know that we have strong thoughts yet. We'll find out together. But we're going to talk about procrastination in Power Exchange, in DS. Weirdly, I thought of the topic not because I am a procrastinator in our Power Exchange, but because I am not. And I was like, somehow I want to talk about this, but I don't actually know what we're going to say because even when I asked JB, he was like, I don't know. So let's go on the journey together.
So welcome, everybody, and happy to have you here.
Finally, you made me go through all that first. Hi, Eva. He's feeling a little sassy today. I might, if somebody reminds me, I'll explain why. I'll explain why in the bonus section if somebody will remind me. Anyway. So we're talking about procrastination. Let's get back on topic.
Okay.
If you enjoy this at any point while you're watching, we'd love a thumbs up. If we don't scare you off and you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing.
And once you do that, you want to get notifications of when we update new content. So ring that notification bell.
Just do what Daddy says. If you like this enough to want to be around it more often, you can either join our YouTube channel where you get an extra live stream and an exclusive video each month, or you can join us on Patreon where you get both of those things plus access to a Discord server and some other perks. Links in the places. Feel free if that's your thing. If not, we're happy you're here. And I might be forgetting something, but you can click the magic button. Clickety clickety. Okay, so before we get started,
and I can't talk about the noise because I didn't turn the fan
you never
off when we
turned the fan
started, so it's been running the whole time.
If you're like, what is that hum? It's the fan. We're getting to that point in the year where it just needs to run all the time. I tried to work in this office the other day, and I'm like sweating. I'm like, what is going on? And I realized that fan wasn't on, and I was nowhere near the one vent we have in this room. Anyway, okay, so before we get into the topic, normally we talk about, like, we sponsor ourselves, blah, 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 but something, and I think it was Friday night's live stream, we got into talking about how we believe that we should never be the only resource for kinksters. Like, I would love to be your favorite resource because I do crave and need external validation. That's a whole other issue. I'll work that out with a therapist one day.
There you go.
But also I have a praise kink, so there's that. But, you know, we were talking about that there's all kinds of resources we recommend, blah, blah, blah. And I realized there's 2 resources that we don't talk about that much. I link to it in all kinds of places, but we don't actually mention. So, I wanted to, like, highlight that as our sponsorship, like, time. Nobody is sponsoring us. Nobody is paying us to talk about these sites, and resources. Also, while they do have a cost to them, there's a free side, all that. We are affiliates of the 2 that I'm thinking of today that just we don't talk about enough, and we really like them. So the first is Kink Academy, which is a video-based learning platform with a ton of kink educators and sex educators and sex workers and pro-doms and all of those kinds of folks sharing their knowledge about specific kinks. At Kink Academy, they do have a free section, so you can check out a lot of videos and not pay a dime. They have a blog, but if you sign up, you get access to more. So that's one, if you have not heard of Kink Academy. The other is one we've partnered with multiple times now over the past couple years. It's called Dom Sub Living. That one is specific to Power Exchange. So Kink Academy has a lot on specific kinks and kink activities. They do have some stuff on Power Exchange, but that's not like their main focus. Dom Sub Living, their main focus is Power Exchange. So if you're looking for classes or workbooks or just educational resources on Power Exchange, and you've exhausted what we offer, they are another good one to check out. And they have a blog, so that if you're like, I don't have any money to spend, but I want to learn something, you can use their blog. You can follow them on social, both of them. And then, so it's Dom Sub Living, Kink Academy. And then in the places, description box on YouTube and show notes for podcast listeners, I've also linked to a general resources page we keep on our website, lovingbdsm.net, of sites, of podcasts, of books. It's actually not exhaustive of all of the books that we like, but it's got if you start with those books, you're doing good. You're going to learn plenty. So yeah, we want to be one of your resources. I personally would love to be your favorite resource, but we don't want to be your only resource for learning anything in kink, in Power Exchange. There are plenty of resources out there. And Dom Sub Living and Kink Academy happen to be 2 that we like and that we're willing to go to them, go check them out. Because there's a lot there that we're not going to cover, that are, could help. And we have previously mentioned Beducated. I still like them. I wish their kink section was more robust. I do still like them. But specific for Kink and Power Exchange, Kink Academy, Dom Sub Living, link in places. Yeah. And we're affiliates, so if you do spend money, you use our link, spend money, we will make a commission, but If you don't have money to spend, there's free stuff. Feel free. Do what you gotta do. Okay, that was rambly, but what isn't about what I do and what we do here. So let's finally get into it. We're going to talk about procrastination in Power Exchange. And first, I want to talk about procrastination in general. I think the vast majority of us, if not
somebody mentioned in the chat that we put off a long time.
We did.
Talking about this topic.
We did. So I would almost say procrastination is probably a near universal. I have no doubt there are those individual souls out there who are like, I've never procrastinated on anything a day in my life. They are the exception, okay? They are the outliers on the bell curve. The rest of us, we do at certain points. And it's funny because I have had procrastination on my mind a lot lately because I do that. But I don't do it in Power Exchange, and I wondered about that, and I know more about procrastination than I used to, because it used to be a thing that sort of triggered shame for me, because I was like, I'm an awful person not doing a thing I know I need to do. And then of course there's that frustrating thing of you procrastinated the thing for days, weeks, maybe even months, and then it only took you like 5 minutes, even though your brain maybe had told you it would take forever. And then you're like, I cannot believe I procrastinated this thing that ended up taking 5 minutes. So there's lots of feelings about procrastination. So let's talk about what procrastination is and what it isn't. What it isn't is a value statement or judgment about you. You are not a procrastinate, or you just experience procrastination. You are not lazy. You are not awful. You are not a bad person. Procrastination, I've linked to a couple resources. I don't think I added them to YouTube yet, but I will. Have real life causes that aren't about who you are as a person. In one article I found in the New York Times, it's a professor, doctor person said people engage in what they called an irrational cycle of chronic procrastination because of an inability to manage negative moods around a task. So then the person was like, wait, we procrastinate because of bad moods? And this person said, yes, procrastination isn't a unique character flaw or a mysterious curse on your ability to manage time, but a way of coping with challenging emotions and negative moods induced by certain tasks. Boredom, anxiety, insecurity, frustration, resentment, self-doubt, beyond. You can do it because you have a neurodivergent brain who's in executive dysfunction. You can do it because you are a perfectionist who's like, oh shit, if I can't do it perfectly, maybe I shouldn't do it at all. Hi, that's been my problem for a long time. You can do it because you really don't want to do it. You know you have to, but you're like, I can think of 85 other things I'd rather do. There are 1,000,001 reasons to procrastinate. We've all experienced some of them at some point around some task in our life, I think. A professor of psychology says procrastination is an emotion regulation problem, not a time management problem. So you are not your procrastination. That is not a character trait of who you are. It is a response to something you are feeling or something going on within you or outside of you. And the response is, I'm not doing anything yet. I can't, I don't want to, I'm not able to, like whatever it is you're saying to yourself. And I say that as somebody who, despite all of my 10 million goals and all the things I want to do in life and all the good intentions I have, and God knows all the plans I can make, I'm a chronic procrastinator. I procrastinate, and it's always the stuff that gets me anxious. I have learned it's anxiety for me. Did it take me 6 months to make a phone call to set an appointment that was really not that bad once I did it? Yes. Some of that's social anxiety. Like I don't want to talk on the phone. But some of it is the anxiety of just not knowing what's going to happen, and so then I stop. Do I put off the most tedious or the hardest tasks in any given work week?
Yeah.
Abso-fucking-lutely. And usually it's the stuff I'm like, if I could get this done, I could move on and I'd have this off. And that's the thing that I know I struggle with procrastination in general, is I know what I need to do. And a lot of the things I found online say that we know what we need to do, but there's something we are preventing ourselves for some reason. And I think it's identifying the reason that's helpful, but I can know all the reasons and still keep pushing that task to the next week and the next week and the next week. And yet, the one place in my life I tend not to procrastinate is power exchange. And I find that interesting. So that's enough. That's me and my procrastination. Outside of power exchange, what is your experience with procrastination?
For me, I have found throughout time that I'm not a chronic procrastinator, but I have found that I do tend to procrastinate on things that I think will be difficult.
Yeah.
All right. Which is funny because once I do the thing that I think will be difficult, it's the easiest thing.
Almost every time.
You know, it's nearly almost effortless. And the thing that I thought would be a snap to do turns out to be the most miserable experience.
Oh God, yeah, the stuff I go into like super confident, I got this. 3 days later, I'm like, why did I ever start this? Yeah.
It's almost like the universe says, "Here, hold my beer."
Right. Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
Kind of thing. And so I have found that, and I know this is going to sound odd, but the things I do tend to procrastinate on the most are phone calls that I perceive will be difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Says the person who really needs to make a dentist appointment for 3 people, and I haven't done that.
And when it comes to power exchange, or just BDSM in general, I will not tend to procrastinate when it comes to playtime.
You think it's because it's fun?
Probably.
You're excited to do it?
Most likely. If I do find myself procrastinating, it will be on the power exchange end.
Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into it because here we are. This I want to hear because I already know I'm the opposite, and I think I know why. So let's start with that. As the dominant, if you're gonna procrastinate in kink, it's gonna be on the power exchange.
Right.
What does that look like, and why do you think that is?
Sometimes I just don't want to deal with a certain someone's sass.
Oh, I thought we were going to go back to decision fatigue from a previous episode. Really?
There is a little bit of that.
So
the decision fatigue, yes.
Okay, and we haven't definitely had that conversation.
Yeah.
So, but sometimes it's you think you know what my response is going to be, and you don't want to deal with it.
I just don't want to frickin' hear it.
So okay, I'm going to go into lecture mode because that is a valid feeling. Okay, I promise you, there are times there's a thing I really want to ask you or get your opinion on, but I won't. And I don't consider this procrastination. I don't want to. Because I'm like, oh shit, he's going to tell me the thing I don't want to hear. So, for different reasons, but on a similar level, there are times I withhold it. Okay, but here's the thing. If you're having that feeling, and you can recognize that you're having that feeling, wouldn't it be helpful for everybody if you communicated, hey, we got to do a thing, I got to tell you a thing, I got whatever. I need my service sub right now, not my sassy baby girl. I don't know how I would receive that. I know that would depend on the mood.
It would be interesting to try that and see.
Well, I'm on the record. Try it at some point.
All right. Yes, you're on the record here.
Yep.
So yeah, that would be an interesting thing to try to see if the two can differentiate.
Oh, but they can, because I have to move through my life. Well, when we talk about why I don't procrastinate, I promise you it's not the sassy side that's in control. So how do you overcome that, or what do you do when you're feeling that way? We procrastinate. We know that's a given. There's that.
Put it off, and then I'm finally like, okay, let's get it over with.
Have I surprised you? Like, we talk about getting surprised at the end of procrastination.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Why did I procrastinate? Have I surprised you?
Sometimes, yes. And sometimes it's like, yeah, this is
I knew this.
Yeah, this is. I just
way.
knew, this is.
So,
yeah.
see, I'm a little. I don't want to be harsh. I'm a little disappointed though, because there's so many times you're like, look, I just got to say the thing. Hear me out. Or, hey, I don't need you to give me solutions. I just need you to listen. Or, hey, like there's so many times you set expectations before telling me something or whatever, presenting something.
True.
That, I mean, if it hasn't occurred to you before, please let it occur to you now. I'm literally on the record,
Right,
saying you can please approach me that way.
It was just like the other day.
Okay.
What today's Wednesday? It was yesterday. Yesterday, it was just yesterday. We were both sitting at our desks, and I spun around and I asked you, if you have a moment,
Right.
okay, and you told me, and I looked at you, and before I said anything, I looked at you and said, "You need to hear me out."
And then, of course,
you need to listen to everything I have to say before you give a reaction.
Catastrophize. Okay, I understand. I would procrastinate around me too. Okay.
And I give you this. You didn't say anything.
I just clenched my jaw.
Your jaw clenched, your head went back, your eyes rolled.
So I think you absolutely make the case for, in Power Exchange, avoiding the difficult conversations, or not even avoiding difficult conversations, just avoiding a thing because you expect a specific reaction and you don't want to deal with it. I think that is... It's all valid. Look, I wish I could tell you that on these days at this time, this is the Kayla you'll get, and on these days at these times, that's the. I wish I could. I really wish I could. I want to be more mindful, and I think the starting point of that is to have the conversation where you admit sometimes I take my time getting to these things
Right.
because blah blah blah. I think I know how you'll react. Okay, now I'm aware of that.
Okay.
But then the next part is, okay, we have the conversation. I'm aware of that. If that's what you're worried about, just let me know. And with practice and over time, I will get better at... I don't want to make it sound like I'm going to withhold all of my reactions or I'm not going to be my true self, but like not reacting before I've actually heard the words. He's not wrong. There is a lot of, he can approach me with a word, a look on his face, or a tone, and I know where it comes from. I know why I do this, and it's not healthy. I immediately start trying to fill in the gaps of what it means.
Right.
And of course, because of why I'm like this, I go to the most negative. You're mad. I'm in trouble. Something
Right.
bad has happened. But I mean, like those are my issues to work on. But I get why you would be like, oh, I don't want to deal with that reaction.
And,
so that's practice thing for me.
That is why too. What was it? 2 weeks ago now. I was like, oh, let's go for a cup of coffee.
I know we were so hot and sweaty and gross and dirty. And you're like, let's go get a cup of coffee.
We just finished yard work. And I was like, let's go get some coffee. And we get the coffee, and you think we're on our way home, and then I pull into the park.
Do a side trek.
And there was no heads up. There was no pre-warning.
Right.
Hey, we're going to talk. And yeah, sometimes I just do it.
And yet my sense was that all those things you needed to tell me, you had been procrastinating on that as well.
Yeah.
Procrastinating the difficult conversations, I think, is going to be a very common thing in a power exchange. It's a common thing in life. I don't need anybody to tell me that. I know, but we're talking about power exchange. It makes sense because if you anticipate getting a negative reaction, you anticipate how you think the other person's going to feel about what you have to say. You know it's a difficult thing for you to just say. I can absolutely see why there would be procrastination there. What is so funny to me, funny in an ironic way, is that I spent most of my all of my childhood and into my adult years, not communicating effectively, not feeling like I could say a thing, not feeling safe to express myself. And somehow in Power Exchange, as I started to learn how to communicate, that pendulum swung all the way to the other. I'm like, I have to be told, look, can you pick a better time and place than this? Like, that's not a thing I procrastinate on. Like,
no,
it's
not. It's not.
But, it's a safety thing. I know I can say anything to you.
Yes.
And you might think I've gone batshit crazy, but you will still love me. Now, where I get annoyed with you, and I think it's, the fact of how people have tried to instill masculinity into you. I think that there's part of it is you're the dom, so you're the one in control, and you have that sense of responsibility and that weight on your shoulders. You do procrastinate telling me hard things.
Yes, I do.
And it frustrates me to no end, because here's the thing. Before he said a word, I know something's on his mind. I know that the vibe is fucking off. I know that we're not connected like we usually are. But I have learned to not press and to not push and to let you be ready. But by the time you tell me, and I can sense oh God, I just knew this was going to be bad. And then as I usually respond favorably, even when we disagree, we almost never disagree about the outcome. We just disagree on how we're supposed to get there, right?
On the road traveled, yes.
So you're telling me about a thing you need, and I might not offer a solution that you thought of, but I'll still offer a solution, and I'll be supportive. I can literally see the weight come off your shoulders, and you're relieved. And I'm like, if you'd done this 2 weeks ago, you wouldn't have had to carry all this around with you. But somehow I went the opposite way. I don't.
Wouldn't have been as much fun.
I don't. Not with you. I do not procrastinate the hard
No,
conversations.
you
I'm like,
don't.
let's talk about the hard thing, because now I'm excited to be engaged with you in this way, because I feel really connected, even when we're talking about the difficult things. So, what other ways do you procrastinate and Power Exchange?
In Power Exchange, that's pretty much it.
It's those difficult conversations.
Yeah.
And dealing with my reaction. Is it always when it's you think it's going to be a difficult conversation and you're trying to anticipate my reaction? Or is it anything that might not even be difficult, but you think you know what my reaction will be? Is my reaction the driving force, or the difficult conversation? Or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination of both.
Gotcha.
It's a combination of both.
Gotcha. And here's the thing I would say, because I want to be careful about this. I do not think anybody needs to change who they are fundamentally to have a satisfying, happy relationship, Power Exchange, all that good stuff. However, there are times we need to moderate ourselves a little bit. Sometimes it's bring it down a notch for these 5 seconds. I can bring it down a notch when you have a hard thing to tell me without fear that I'm somehow tamping down whatever the fuck it is that makes me me. Right. Because when outside of a hard conversation, you're not gonna ask me to be anything other than what I am. And most of the time, some of the time, you delight in this until you're tired and cranky and really need a nap. I mean, I get, like, there's a time and a place for everything. I can't. Not only do I not want to be on all the time, nobody can be on in every interaction with your partner.
Don't get me wrong, and I've said this numerous times over the years. I love your sass. All right, I wouldn't have you any other way. But yes, sometimes there are limits at times.
Time and place matter. Yeah. Right. Sort of like I know that I drop F-bombs as easily as breathing, and yet there are also times I know for what is my value system, what matters to me, there are times I won't use that. Like, we have a meeting at the school on Friday. I will not drop F-bombs in that meeting. I will be my professional, polite, concerned mom self. That's what we'll do here.
Right.
So, like, while you're saying that sometimes knowing that you might get sass or you might just get my anxiety is enough to make you procrastinate a conversation, it's not that you don't want me to be that way. It's that in that moment with that kind of conversation, and outside of that, you want me to be exactly who I am. You just need a different reaction. So I just want to make that clear. So I'm going to go to my side of the slash.
Okay.
And it is the weirdest thing, because y'all, I really procrastinate. Like, when I say I need to call the dentist, I mean, we're 2 years overdue to go to the dentist. Okay, it's not pretty. Don't anybody, I mean, I'm not proud of it. Okay. I've procrastinated 2 years. That's all I'm saying. And I've got to not procrastinate because the oldest is we need to go. God damn it.
Right. Before he ages out.
Right. So I'm a procrastinator from hell. All the things that I get excited about one moment, the moment I realize the gravity of what I'm trying to do, or I think I'm trying to find success, and who am I to find the moment self-doubt creeps in, all that, procrastinate. The one place I don't procrastinate, or I don't think I do, and you tell me from your side if it seems like I do not procrastinate as a submissive.
No, you don't.
When you give me a task,
you are on it. Mm-hmm. You have it done within the time frame I have given you to complete it. Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So, and here's my thinking on this. One, I do really well with outside accountability. That's once I kind of understood power exchange and understood how I was wired and understood what I wanted from a relationship. It was easy to embrace because I went, ooh, yes, somebody else telling me to do a thing that, yeah, sure, my rational mind knows I ought to do it, or my rational self would put it on the to-do list and should just do it. But there's something that prevents me, whether it's anxiety or it's executive dysfunction or I don't know, it could be perfectionism. It can be all kinds of stuff. When somebody else who I respect, admire, trust, and love is telling me to do a thing, even if there's a little whining and complaining, because who wants to do a thing that's good for them? I can do it so much more easily than when it's an internal, girl, you need to go do that, right?
Yeah.
Also, though, now we do incorporate punishment, consequences, discipline, all of that into our power exchange. That is certainly not required for all power exchanges, and everybody does that, and that's okay. We do. So I also have the added bonus, I think, of I want to avoid whatever the consequence might be.
Right.
If I am given a task, I agree to do the task. I never come back and say, I need more time, there's a problem, and I just don't fucking do it. I don't want to find out what that is. For all there was you're a brat. No, I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to piss him off. I don't want to agree to do a thing and then not fucking do it. I don't want to play with fire like that. No, the fuck I don't. Okay. I really do want to be the good girl who's you wanted me to do this thing? Look, not only did I do it, I did it better than anybody else on the goddamn planet, faster than anybody else could have done. And I anticipated every question and need you'd ever have. I get so much joy and validation. I love to be good at shit that people need from me. Thank God I only really give you that anymore, because I used to just be given that desire to just bosses and husbands.
Well, you have always done very well. Anytime there has been something that I have been holding you accountable for, we've used star charts. You love getting them damn gold stars.
I like to see them line up little soldiers.
You love getting those gold stars.
More the better.
Yeah. Now, see, Taishu said something that made me kind of raise an eyebrow, and I kind of like that.
Okay.
Said when she has to make the decision because I only have enough energy for sass or the decision, not both.
Here's the thing: if you present it like that, I get that.
I like that. I like that.
So here's the thing about not procrastinating as you're submissive. You give me a task, you say you need a thing done, I'm fucking on it as soon as I can be. What that means, though, is that I can be overwhelmed very easily by a task because I know I'm going to try and fit it in as soon as I can.
True.
And you've gotten really good at coming to me and going, okay, I have a task for you. Not right this second, or right. You've got a few days, or here's the deadline, blah, blah, blah. because the downside to decide, and it's a decision I make, and I'm not always conscious of that decision, deciding I'm not going to procrastinate on those things because I get so much from it that is enjoyable and I like, and I don't think you've yet, a couple times you've asked me to do things that like really freaked me out and produced anxiety, and we'll talk about that in a second. But because I know I'm not going to procrastinate, I'm going to do it. When you ask me to do a thing, you tell me, baby girl, I've got a task for you, and I'm staring down the barrel of about 85 things on my to-do list, right, or I've got a deadline, or I'm worried about 10 million other things, it is immediately overwhelming because my brain goes, oh shit, you got to fit that in, but you still have to do all these things.
All the other things that you have on your...
Which, what you've learned over the years is to come to me, and if you only ask for something near immediately when it's a thing that's something I already do. Like, you might ask for a coffee refill, and you know, you will check in with me. Hey, are you available?
Right.
Our code is your green light on. Like, do you have the capacity to listen to me and do a thing? Or you see me walking into the kitchen, and you're like, hey, baby girl, can I get another cup of coffee? Or hey, baby girl, can you do this? Or hey, baby girl, can you do that? You're incorporating it naturally into what I'm already doing. I don't even have a chance to feel overwhelmed. It's a small enough thing. I just do it. So here's the thing. Because I don't procrastinate on my submissive stuff, it means that when you have asked me to do things that are anxiety producing, I have to face that anxiety while I'm doing the thing. I can't avoid it, because procrastination is an avoidance. You're avoiding a task or a thing for all kinds of reasons. Like we said at the top, one of those is anxiety. One of those is a fear of something. I'm thinking back to the times you wanted me to go do events when we still lived in the Tampa Bay area without you. And the very first time I went to a munch by my damn self, I cried all the way there. I trembled while I sat there until some nice person took pity on me and befriended me temporarily. I cried all the way back. I walked in and said,
yeah,
I'm not doing that shit by myself ever again. I love you so much.
Yeah.
But with that, you know, it's such a weird phenomenon, because if left to my own devices, and I think one of the things kinksters procrastinate on is going to that first munch, going to that first event, getting into that online group and starting a conversation. Why? Because there's some level of anxiety there. You're worried about not fitting in. You're worried about what'll happen. You're worried about the unknown. You're worried about whatever. And that's a common thing that I see kinksters procrastinating about, right? And I think it makes sense. The flip side to that, when you face the fear I understand why people would do it, because when you face the fear while you're still in the anxiety mode, you're still terrified of it, is you're gonna have a fucking reaction. Now, some people will have the reaction well before or well after, maybe not during. I'm not built like that. I'm going to have the reaction before, during, and after. And then I'm going to need 2 to 3 business days to recover. I would love to be able to go, I faced that fear and I didn't procrastinate and I went and did a thing scared and it made me able to do it. No, I came back from that and went, we're not doing that again.
And I didn't make you do it again. No. Nope. So
if you find that, wait, I don't procrastinate as a submissive or just as a kinkster in general, and you get on top of those things, just if it hasn't happened to you yet, it may happen to you that either the first time you procrastinate will be because your partner asked you to do something that terrified you, or you're going to have to battle the demons of your own fear while doing it. That's a tough thing. That's a hard thing to do. Yeah. It's why so many people, including myself, Lola, are you bumping the tripod? It's why so many people, including myself, procrastinate all the time, because facing that feeling and of being scared or anxious, it's a lot. Even over what somebody who does not have that anxiety or fear would classify as something small or meaningless. Like, why are you scared? Well, I don't know. You know, if I could answer that, I wouldn't be fucking scared. Now, would I? You know, if it was just that simple. So I'm just gonna let you know if you find yourself similar to me going, yeah, I don't procrastinate as a submissive either. Either you will eventually, or you'll feel like you're going through hell because you do the thing your partner tells you to do, no matter how terrified you are in the moment. Oh my God. I can still feel in my mind, in my memory, how terrified I was to go do a social thing without you.
Yeah.
And the frustrating thing about that, and I think most people who might have a similar experience would say the same thing. We know it's a bigger reaction than most people would think makes sense. We probably are doing the I shouldn't do this, I shouldn't be like this, I should get myself together, I should. And you can know all of that and still be reacting in whatever way you're reacting. For me it was like just constant crying.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you haven't asked me to do challenging things. You have not touched on you haven't asked me to do things that scare me. I appreciate that. I don't need any more extra anxiety in my life. Thanks. I think, I do believe sometimes you have to do shit scared, but there's different levels of that. I've done things that made me nervous. I've done things that I wasn't sure what the outcome would be, but I try not to do things that turn me into a crying sack of tears, like something that shuts me down so much I can no longer function. Yeah. Like I've done shit afraid before and will again, and I have my sleepless nights and I walk around with just nausea sitting in my throat, but I can do it. But when the fear is so overwhelming that it shuts me down, I don't know that that's outside of some therapeutic help or medication or whatever. I don't know how helpful that is. I don't know how good that is. So I'm actually kind of grateful that after one or two experiences of you sending me out into the world terrified on a submissive task, that now the things you ask me to do, we either do them together, which can be just as like anxiety producing.
Everything after that was a piece of cake, right?
Well, I mean, when you have an emotional breakdown in the parking lot of a Perkins, it's fine. Or a BDSM dungeon parking lot. I absolutely sat in that car, gripped the steering wheel, and sobbed as people walked in around me. I think it's okay to do those things together, or to maybe not do them until we can do them together, because if the fear makes you shut down that completely, what are you getting out of it? Whereas if you waited a little bit until you could do it together, like what are you trying to prove, right?
Yeah.
Like, and this is the flip side of procrastination. I get that, in that you're doing a thing that you would procrastinate but not procrastinating for whatever reason. I would be, if anybody's like, well, that's a challenge, I'm going to toughen my partner up, I would just be careful. If you're sending your partner into situations where they're shutting down and they do not have the support to help them work through that, I don't know that that's necessarily healthy for folks. Procrastination is a protective thing. You are avoiding a negative emotion. We don't always need to avoid them. Sometimes we need to face them. But it's better in certain situations to face them with tools and resources and support than to completely lose your shit.
And Eva, I'm actually going to kind of answer that, because she kind of was like, well, going to that activity solo probably helped you when you went to the UK. And no, two very different things for her.
And I still had a lot of anxiety on that.
Two very different things in a sense. Yes, you did have anxiety about it.
I cried in the airport and on the plane.
The point of me having her go to that activity like that was because I wanted her to try and make her own friends.
Sure.
The thing that she did in the UK, while they had never met, she had bonded and become very good friends online with the person who was putting that, and multiple people who were
right, and it was professional. I was
right.
on as Kayla Lords. I was there, and there is something that I can do in that performative role that I struggle with when it's me as a person, even if I'm going by the name Kayla Lords, because I do not bust up in a munch ready to like tell everybody what I think about Power Exchange. I really, unless they ask me to, I don't do that. I come in as just sort of like your everyday person who's like, when do we eat? Can I get a Diet Coke? Can I sit in a corner and just observe until I'm comfortable? I come in as sort of like my everyday self, which is very, I know y'all will not believe this, but it really is true. Very reserved, very quiet. I want to sit back and watch and get the vibe and see who do I think my people might be. And I don't want to do it alone. I probably could do it better now than several years ago. I have a lot more understanding of myself and who I am. I have grown in confidence and given away some fucks. But when I have to go do something professionally and I am expected to show up as my online Kayla Lord self, it's like going on stage. It's exhausting. It's draining. There's still anxiety. I got on that plane, went across the ocean without my daddy. It was tough. I didn't like it. If you noticed, I brought him with me the next time. Thanks. But yeah, it is different.
Yeah.
And nobody wants me to constantly show up as Kayla Lords. You would get so tired of me if every time I went out and nobody wants that. I don't want that. Sometimes I just want to be a quiet little person in a corner who's not got to say anything. But that is such a weird struggle to have gone through a couple times because I don't procrastinate. You know what I mean? Like, procrastinating would have been you to give me the assignment of, I want you to go to a munch, get it done, and I would have taken 3 months to do it. And by then we probably would have gotten into an argument, or there would have been a consequence or something, because that is one I would have avoided if I found myself procrastinating as a submissive. I don't know why I don't procrastinate in my submissive role, other than I don't want to get in trouble. Like I don't know what it is about our connection and or you, where I will go face my demons with a tear-streaked face. Only for you. Okay, my children. To take care of the kids, I do shit that scares me, and I don't procrastinate on that too terribly. But there is something about that where for you, sure, I'll go walk through fire. It'll be fine. Just hose me off when I come back. Other parts of my life, procrastinate left, right, and fucking center, and then get very frustrated with myself. So we've talked about instances in Power Exchange where people procrastinate. Hard conversations, definitely. Going to those events for the first time, especially if you're by yourself. And quite frankly, hopefully I've never done this before. I'm not going to be the person who's like, you're by yourself, just go. No. If it's terrifying and you're procrastinating, wait till you have somebody you can latch onto. I'm a huge advocate of that. But I also know that if you can get through that first one when you're terrified, it's easier afterwards. That is true. Yeah. What other things can you imagine why people might procrastinate in kink? I can see procrastinating over a new kink that you're not sure how you feel about it.
True.
But because procrastination tends to come from negative feelings, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it's hard for me to wrap my mind around the idea of procrastinating over a new kink or a scene or a kink activity, assuming it's what you actually want. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree. And I think another thing that might be procrastinated on is when it comes to pushing boundaries.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Okay. Because many people are afraid of change.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, so when, granted, there are some boundaries, hard limits that should never be crossed.
Agreed.
That's off the shelf. But, certain things, sometimes we need to kind of push our boundaries to
try new things
to grow.
Right.
And when you're within that comfort zone,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It's nice and comfy here, and you know, I'm really happy. Why would I want to change this?
And you know what? Sometimes we get into a comfort zone and we're not actually happy, but we know what to expect in that comfort zone. And so even though we would like something different, we think something might be better, something is intriguing to us and we'd like to try it, you know, many of us want to stick with what we know, because even when it's not great, we at least can anticipate it. We understand what's happening. We have experienced this before. We know what we can handle. And when you're thinking about trying something new, in this case, in your power exchange or your kink life, just the discomfort of being new at it or not quite knowing how it'll go, I can absolutely see that causing procrastination. I think about the times we've heard from kinksters, and I wouldn't say you and I procrastinated on this, but I see how it happens. There, you know, I'll hear from a kinkster who's like, well, we started out as this kind of dynamic, but I think this dynamic might be a better fit, but I'm afraid to have this conversation, or we haven't had the conversation yet, or we've talked about it, but we're not making any movement towards it.
Progress, yeah.
And I think there's lots of reasons you might not make progress on something that you've explicitly stated, yeah, let's try this. And, you know, sometimes it's not having a good, clear plan, being overwhelmed by all the options. Like, there's reasons. I think one of them might be, and I think that's a procrastination, and that's worth a look at internally. Are you the one procrastinating? Do you think your partner's the one procrastinating? Or are you both just procrastinating together? And if so, what is it? Is it the not being ready to get out of your comfort zone? Is it that, this has happened to me before outside of kink, it sounded like a good idea, I said I'd do the thing, and then when I walked away, I was left to my own devices, somewhere within me, I didn't really want to. I might have agreed because I thought that's what they wanted to do. I might have agreed because it sounded good at the time, but then upon further reflection, I'm like, actually, no. So if, you know, I absolutely can see procrastination being a part of that. That's a time to have the internal conversation with yourself of why am I procrastinating? Oh, maybe I've realized the thing. Oh, now it's time to have the conversation with your partner about how you're really feeling, which is then potentially another opportunity to procrastinate. I get
Sounds
that.
like a vicious cycle there.
It absolutely can be. All my experience with procrastination is outside of kink, but yes, it's a feedback loop.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of, if you give a mouse a cookie kind of situation. Like, I'm procrastinating because I don't like this thing, so I need to think about it. But, oh, that's going to be painful, so I'm going to procrastinate on that. Well, I need to talk to my partner about that thing, but, oh, I'm going to procrastinate about that because I don't know how that might go. Like, yeah, it keeps going, a pattern that repeats itself.
Yeah.
I wish I had words of wisdom on how to break cycles of procrastination, how to make yourself stop procrastinating. For me, it has typically been either an artificial, or not even artificial, an outside deadline. Artificial that I can't make it up. If I make it up, my brain goes, bitch, you made it up. You can change your mind anytime you want. Somebody else has to give me the deadline. Or it's a real deadline that that will get me moving like nothing else will. I've had many a professional night of still working at midnight because I had a deadline because I procrastinated. Sometimes the pain, air quote that because it's physical, mental, emotional, the pain of not having the outcome that I want, but finally becomes worse than not doing the thing, and I can get moving. In power exchange, for me, if somebody wants me to do something quickly, JB should just be the one to ask me to do it, because I might be cranky if it's a busy day, but it will get done because I don't want to let you down ever. And I absolutely see you as an authority in a way that I don't even see my own fucking self, y'all. So I want to be a good girl. I want to avoid consequences. I want to make you happy. I want to be praised. I want validation. So you ask me to do a thing, it will get fucking done. Now, might I debate you for 15 to 20 minutes on why maybe that's not a good idea? It's not realistic. I'm not sure I can do it. Yes. But if all of those arguments can't persuade you otherwise, and you go, yeah, I see that, but then you know it's going to get done. If you are the type of person who responds to the outside person telling you to do it, whether you're submissive or not, fucking use that. If it works for you, use it. How have you overcome procrastination?
I think for the most part, it just comes down for me to like, it's not going to do itself.
Yeah.
You know, and I need to just, I'm tired of having this thing hanging over or waiting to be done, and you know, it just needs to happen.
I also think, yes, I agree, and I think that's kind of an example on a granular level of the pain of not doing it becomes greater than whatever.
Yeah.
The other thing I would say to like somebody who's like, well, I'm procrastinating on going to my first munch. I'm procrastinating on going to this community thing. Like, I want to, but I'm not doing it. And I'm looking for all these reasons why I can't. Like, I recognize that I'm procrastinating, right? Especially when somebody says I'm not brave enough or I'm too scared. The philosophy that has helped me, reject it if it doesn't help you, use it if it does, is I only have to be brave enough for the 30 seconds it takes to start forward movement, because once I start moving forward, I usually can keep on going, right? So the first time I realized that that's what I was doing, and that was kind of how I thought about it, was when I asked my ex-husband for a divorce. It was terrifying. I mean, I was ready to vomit. I had to go away for a weekend to see my bestie, cry on her couch, drink margaritas, eat chips and queso, and come back and then still look this man in the eyes and have this hard conversation, right? And I was scared prior. I took a deep breath. I said the hard thing for however long that took. And then when we got done, I was still scared, and I didn't know what was going to happen next. And I didn't know how I was going to get through it. But looking back, I went, I wasn't brave that whole fucking time. I was brave for the 5 minutes, the conversation. Like, I said what I had to say, right? You know, emailing you was scary. I don't reach out to fucking me. If you want to talk to me, you better reach out to me. I don't email first. I don't call first. I don't do that. I don't text first. I don't do that. And I was scared in kind of a good way. It wasn't that like overwhelming fear, like genuine anxiety. It was more of the, how will this go? This seems like it's a good idea. I'd really like for this to work out, but I don't know. That kind of level of fear and anxiety. I took a deep breath and I hit send. And I knew at that point I couldn't control what would happen from that, but I hoped for good things. And I wasn't brave the whole time. I was brave just for the amount of time it took to actually hit send, because I could have drafted that email and then deleted it. Like, I had that choice.
Yeah.
So I only needed courage for just a few seconds. And I think sometimes for some people who feel anxiety, especially if you're kind of like me and you feel it all the time about all the things, we kind of get this story in our head that we're supposed to just be brave all the time. Fuck that shit. I'm not brave all the time.
No, but I don't think anybody
and nobody
is.
is.
I mean, no,
right.
You know. So, and you know, when it comes to our DS, what kind of gets me past that point of procrastination is the fact that you look to me to make those decisions, you know, and you count on me for that. And even from my aspect, it comes down to, you know, when I push past and say, you know, hey, we need to talk about XYZ, it's because I don't want to let you down. You know, it comes down to that, you know, knowing that you can count on me.
You know, it's funny. The reason of all the reasons I've said, well, I'm not going to procrastinate when you ask me to do something as my dom and I'm your submissive. Same fucking thing. I don't want to let you down, and you are counting on me to do the thing. That's a powerful reason. If it resonates for anybody, please feel free to use it. Yeah. I also, I think it helps when you remember what the positive outcomes of not putting those things off, not procrastinating, not delaying. And that's not always going to be true, because sometimes you've got to have a hard conversation, or maybe you're questioning your power exchange and maybe this isn't the right person or the right dynamic, or something's off, and that's a lot harder. But if you are in general in a mostly happy, healthy power exchange, hopefully you're not dealing with a lot of fear and anxiety around your interactions with your partner. Like, you're gonna feel it, and I feel it in a million and one ways, but where I don't feel it hardly ever is with you, JB, because I know I'm safe. Now, might I want to avoid telling you something because I'm nervous about your reaction? Sure. But even that is muted, and if I'm delay telling you something, it's like a day or two. It's to find the right time for your mindset, not because I'm like, I need to procrastinate on this because this could go badly. Like, it's not that. Because even when you've had a negative reaction to something I've had to tell you or some situation, it's never been a reaction against me as a person. And no reaction that you've ever had with me has made me doubt myself, feel bad, become more anxious than I already am. And we've said this many times over the years about many topics we've talked about, but in this instance, be a partner that your partner can be safe with and feel safe with. Like that, you get so much more out of everything you're doing once a person feels safe with you, and you've earned that, like you really are a safe. Now that does not wipe out, any anxiety they feel, because that's just how their brain's wired. That does not knock out whatever neurodivergency is doing to their brain. Like, that doesn't change all of that, but it makes everything else just that much easier. And when you're fighting against your own brain, sometimes external things, that doesn't make it a little less difficult. They're golden. They're priceless. They make all the fucking difference. I can be my most genuine self with you, as messy and sassy as that often is, because I'm safe. Yeah. And if I have nothing to fear from you, with you, interacting with you, for me and how I procrastinate, there's no procrastination. Now, all the external factors help too. I like the validation. I like the good girl. I don't want a consequence. Yes, those are all helpful. But at its core, it's because you've asked me to do a thing, and why would I wait? Yeah. Also, it means you have more power than you know. You can literally send me into the lion's den. My knees will knock the whole way there, but I will go. So use that power wisely.
I try to. I try.
So all of that being said, is there anything else you would add?
Nope.
Okay. Are there more things that could be said? Oh, there goes Lola knocking into the tripod again. And more things that could be said? Absolutely. Procrastination, why we do it, what we feel, how it manifests in our lives is extremely individualized. Yeah. So it's absolutely okay if you do not resonate with any of our experiences and you have your own completely separate experiences and ways of coping with it. But it's like anything else. It's worth thinking about for yourself internally, and then especially if you're in a power exchange or trying to negotiate one, talking about it, bringing it out into the open, instead of, your partner thinking that you're unreliable and you never get anything done. Maybe the conversation needs to be about, I procrastinate on things, and here's why. Here's what's going on with me. Here's how I think. Here's how I feel. Here's what maybe might help. Like, if there's a takeaway from this for anybody that I would want you to have, it's that. Do you procrastinate? You are not a procrastinator. It's not like some inherent like thing. It's a fear response, right? It's a response to negative emotions. Do you do it? Why do you think you do it? How is it affecting your power exchange? And does that mean it's time for a conversation with your partner? And can your partner potentially help you? And then are they willing to? Mm-hmm. And that is what I would want for anybody.
True.
Yep. So that's all I've got to say.
Okay. All right.
So I guess we can go into a bonus section.
So are we good?
I don't know. Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week. Daddy.
Yes, baby girl.
Can I talk to the crickets, please?
You've already been doing a lot of talking.
I know, I have. It's one of those weeks. For somebody who had no clue what she wanted to say.
Right.
It's like my superpower.
You carried yourself quite well through all that. So
I'm just going to, the podcast listeners, you can't see, I will bat my eyelashes.
She was.
The mascara is dry, so they won't glue together if I do it.
Okay. Go ahead and talk to the crickets, girl.
Oh, good. I hope somebody out there has a better memory than I do, because I said at the very beginning that if somebody would help me remember something I said, I remember what it was. I can't remember the context of why I said, help me remember. Like, we said a thing, we're talking about a thing, and I went, oh, except JB, blah, blah, blah. I said something to that effect. I don't remember the words anymore. We should roll tape, but we're not going to do that. It's live stream. I'll roll tape later when this is all done. I cannot remember the context, but there was a thing. So, yes, we scened today. It is Wednesday, day of recording, which means we record, and
yeah.
We have been doing a lot of scenes recently that are absolutely for JB's pleasure and just to see what I can endure. And that's what it's been like past couple weeks. So JB came to me, and this was a task you gave me yesterday. And you were like, you did the whole thing of, I have a task for you, but like not right this second, but here's your deadline, right? You said, okay, past few scenes have kind of been for me. I want you to go pick out toys that you like, your favorite toys that you would like to be used in a scene. And I thought that I was thinking of the loopholes. And so I remembered to ask, okay, if I pick out the things I like, will they be used in the way that I like them to be used? Because if you did not know about toys, you can like how it feels with one way of using it, but it can always be made meaner. Okay, it's just you have to like shift your technique a little bit and it'll suck. So like, you are not going to turn me against my own favorite toys here. If I pick my favorites and what I'd really like to experience, will I get to experience them the way I like to experience them? I was told yes. I didn't ask follow-up questions like, will I get to experience them the way I like to experience them through the full duration of the scene?
And where I'm used to having them.
Right. And will they be used on the parts of my body I'm used to having them used on? That was my error. Now I know for the future. Because there we are. I'm so excited. It's one of my favorite floggers because I couldn't find another one. I think it's in the toy bag. And my favorite paddle. And I'm like, I have not gotten to experience these in so long. This will be so relaxing. And maybe for people who happen to watch our spicy content, it'll just be some ASMR because these things make serious noise and there's a lot of ass to make noise on. And here we go. And I am so excited until JB's like, no. You're clearly not a sadist because here's what we're going to do first. And I was like, thanks. I'm so glad we could have this. I did enjoy myself because I did have moments where I was drifting. I was like, you found a rhythm and I just went, oh yeah, I love every second of this. And then clearly you can read minds because the moment I was like, oh,
wake up.
Right. It's like, damn it.
Yeah.
So, what else?
What else?
I asked you if we could go we could go buy panties.
Yes.
For a person who does not wear them on a daily basis, I very rarely wear them, quite frankly. In the summer, I wear them more often because crotch sweat is a thing, and I don't want any spots on my clothes while I'm just trying to exist out here.
Crotch sweat and humidity.
Oh, Lord, it's so real.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I've got this like urge to like take pictures of myself, and I was like, I want new panties, and you were like, okay. I mean, we buy really cheap ones, that way if in a scene you want to rip them off, you can.
Right.
RIP to that one pair of panties that was so cute. It was so cute. They're now in
They didn't
tatters.
last long. Yeah.
So cute. But there's that. So what else?
I don't know. I've just been keeping on.
Yeah.
You know.
You were feeling kind of yucky earlier this week. I wonder if you had it would have been a mild case, even though I know it didn't feel mild at the time, mild case of food poisoning.
That's kind of what I wondered. I kind of thought about that myself. Saturday, the oldest had a performance for All County.
It was all district,
district.
so it was 3 counties. The kids tried out. It was for jazz band, so there were
Right.
less spots, so it was more competitive.
And he got in. We went to see him play, and
I cried during his solo.
Yeah. And you know, because of the drive and where it was located and everything, we decided to eat out.
Lola, please stop tapping the tripod, baby.
I tried to get her to move from there. She
She's
does
not
not want to
moving
move from that spot. She's sleeping on the floor with her nose against the leg of the
Right
tripod.
now it's the top of her head, but yeah.
Okay.
And so she stretches and the
Yeah.
tripod tips.
And we found this restaurant. Really nice place.
Yeah.
But the next day, I was not having a good time of it at all.
You and the 13-year-old, but I was
Yeah.
fine. I didn't experience any. So, and when we looked back over the meals for them both to be having a similar response,
Right.
they both ate things I didn't eat, and so I'm like, something was off
Yeah.
there.
So Sunday and Monday
We're miserable.
were miserable for me. Yeah. I'm back up and good.
Which is good.
As of yesterday, I appetite returned and I started eating normally and
We were supposed to go to another band thing last night, and that got rained out.
got canceled due to weather. We had a gully washer.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we needed it
Yesterday
though.
afternoon.
Our
We
grass
did
was
need
looking
it.
crispy.
Everything's looking crispy right now. But yeah, that's pretty much been it.
Yeah, just kind of working and same old and doing stuff, and then we got some like personal stuff that we got to take care of, and
Yeah.
I've got my admin hat on for that. I really do need to call it. Part of the problem with the dentist thing is 2 years ago, finally got a new dentist. Fucking hated the experience. Didn't like how the people were nice enough, but the office was run so poorly that the kids' appointments took 2.5 hours for basic cleaning, and we got forgotten in a room for like an hour. Like, it was bad. My experience went faster, but the vibe was off for me at that point because I had already been there with the kids. Ugh. So I've got to get us a new dentist, and then we got new dental insurance, and I've got to figure out who accepts our insurance, and then go check reviews to make sure I don't like wind up in a shit show again. It's a lot. And I don't mind going to the dentist so much because I like how my teeth look and feel when I'm done. But I also have to take 2 kids and accompany them, and one will be fine. He'll be talking around them with their fingers in their mouth. The other one will try to curl up into a ball and just pretend he doesn't exist and he's invisible. And so it's like, I know why I'm avoiding it, but I've got to do that. So,
And we've taken a little bit of a break from doing the DIYs around the house.
yeah, our weekends got kind of crazy. This weekend is the first weekend in a couple of weeks we don't have any kid-related, band-related things. Then, after this weekend, we go into 2 weekends with kid-related things. We get a
Right.
weekend off, and then it's graduation week.
Yep.
And at that point, my mom's in town visiting for a week, so it'll be like
Mm-hmm.
crazy. And I think we are going to take our quarterly break around the time of graduation. I just don't know, will it be the week before or the week after? We have to look at that. Which all that really means that, like, we still keep doing lots of stuff, but we don't live stream, record a podcast,
Right.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's barreling down at us.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Yeah. The 17-year-old got a new job. He
Starts this weekend.
his official first shift starts Friday. He's also prepping for AP tests, so he can hopefully get some credits to take over to college. He's got all this band stuff. The 13-year-old, he and I are both tired of 7th grade at this point.
Yeah.
We're just trying to get to the end. We're just trying to get to the end. We do have
Close, so close.
a 504 IEP meeting for him that I just pray makes 8th grade
Easier.
a little less difficult.
Yeah.
We shall see how that goes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Same old, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
The cats are good. Lola's living her best Lola life. We got to get her in for a bath because she is a stinky, stinky girl. Yeah, I mean, I can't. There's always a bunch of little things, but we just working.
Yeah.
Podcast listeners, you can't see, but we unintentionally matched today.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that you were the one who copied me, but it's fine. Oh gosh.
Now, see, you can't say that because I had my clothes laid out from early this morning.
But you weren't wearing them, and that did not automatically mean you were going to put them on today. I put this shirt on at 7:45 this morning. You were still in your PJs. I flounced around here. You saw me, so it was a choice. You putting on your purple t-shirt was a choice that you made.
I think you saw what I had put out, and you were like, yeah.
No. I wish that's how it worked. Okay, y'all. We could keep rambling, but we're not gonna.
No.
We will be back again next week. I have no clue what we're talking about, but we'll figure it out.
One thing or another.
Thanks for being here to the bitter end. We'll see y'all later. Bye.